Ady, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You were on 2 years ago, I think we figured out, and quite a bit has changed, as one would expect. So we're going to get into all that. But for the audience that maybe hasn't heard the episode that you were first on, which I don't have the number off the top of my head, but let's do what I call the state of the state, meaning tell us where you currently live, what you consider yourself, producer, engineer, etc., and tell us, generally what you're doing nowadays so we get a sense of who you are.
Oh, of course. Hey, my name is Adrian Parzentny, and I'm a music producer and mixing engineer, as well as recording engineer, currently living in Barcelona. So I think the last episode we talked, I lived in Morocco. I'm known for that I traveled the last 5 years in a van, recording bands in places where they don't have the possibility to record, setting up mobile record studios. Now I have a fixed studio. Here's my home studio where I'm doing mixing and production with local artists. And I have another studio, Sol de Sans, for recording, where I joined the team here. It's one of my favorite studios where bands like Rosalia recorded and Snarky Puppy. And yeah, now I took another step and became a book author.
And the name of your book, which is coming out very soon, is called?
It's called Audio Nomad, Recording 2 Years in Morocco.
And I just got a PDF copy of the book from you, which I'm very much looking forward to reading. And also for the audience, I looked it up. It's episode 468 that you were on, and this is episode 558.
Wow, you're on it. You're doing incredible work, Matt.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's get on with it. Let's talk about some changes. Number one, you moved to Barcelona, and also I just want to back that information up with this. You're from Poland, and you were raised in Germany. Is that right?
Exactly.
And as you just said, you spent last year living in did you say Morocco?
Last year, a lot of things happened. So I was born in Poland. I grew up in Germany, but I traveled for the last 13 years. So last year, I moved from Poland to Germany, and then from Germany to Barcelona, where I finally found my home.
And what attracted you to Barcelona?
Okay, I'll be honest. Though I was a traveling producer, and I'm still doing it, I'm still working in Morocco and so on, all around the world. I was working constantly, so I never had a vacation. And last year, I said, let's just book a flight. Let's go to Barcelona. Let's see what's going on there. We passed here in 2018 and spent a night here. And I loved everything about Barcelona. And somehow, this was the first idea. I said, I just get a ticket to Barcelona. I have some friends there. I have a band here. We made music. So I said, let's go visit them. Let's see what happens. And I fall in love last September with the city. I fall in love with it. Everything that I ever needed. And then I moved in January.
Amazing. And was the move difficult?
Look, when I make a decision, it goes very quick. So I took 2 suitcases. Everybody said, before you move to Barcelona, you need 3 months of research, find the apartment and everything. I said, I have an Airbnb for 7 days, and I give myself 7 days to find a place to stay. So that was my move. I packed everything that was important for me, like microphones, clothes, and some instruments. And the rest I figured out. So I came here. I had 2 days of party. The 3rd day I was looking for a room or apartment. The 4th day I had a place.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have to say this because I remember before I moved to San Francisco and I left my hometown in southern New Mexico, I distinctly remember just conversations with people about, oh, you shouldn't do that. It's a 1 in a million chance you're going to get a record deal. And, like just when you make a decision like that changes things, everybody has their their prescribed ideas of what you should or should not be doing. And I love that you just said, no, this is how I'm going to do it. And you did it very much like myself in terms of moving. And for the record, you know, a 1 in a million chance to get a record deal. I got 2 record deals in the time period within the first, 10 years of living here. So
incredible. Congratulations. You are the living example. It's very easy. People will tell us all the time about their experiences. What I learned in all my life is listen to somebody either have really this experience, somebody who moved from here to Barcelona. Yeah. And then I listen. Or if somebody tells you, don't go into music, you will never find something. I rather listen to people who have a record deal and get information how they got it. This is more inspiring and brings us further towards our goal. People told me, you will never be a producer in Barcelona. People don't have money here. Artists don't spend any cash, I said, okay, let's see. And I'm working now with the Grammy-winning team in Sol de Sans, in one of my favorite studios I have ever seen. And it's often authenticity. You don't have to push anything. You don't have to pretend anything. When you're natural, you naturally attract what should come to you. And you attracted the record deals. You made it. Yeah. You showed up, you did the work, and I did the same.
Exactly. You have to have, I think you have to have imagination. I've talked about this in some of my rants. I think imagination and hope and a vision of what could happen. And I think, as you say, it naturally comes to you or you gravitate towards it. Those that doubt it, it's not going to come to them.
Exactly. That's the thing. And I always thought, since I'm a kid, okay, should I take the advice and now sit on my bed and be unhappy? Or should I at least try? And once you try, in the process of trying, maybe you don't even reach exactly the goal that you set. Maybe 10 other incredible things will happen on the way that you couldn't even imagine. So good are they.
It's amazing what can be accomplished when you just say, no, this is what I'm doing. And I mean, you've done your own bit of research and figured out the parameters of what works for you. And at the end of the day, I think that is what is most important, is what works for you. And, I love the fact that you just made the decision and you moved quick, and look at you now. You're there, you're settled, you're doing stuff.
It's stunning. I have a full view on the whole city. Like, I see everything. I can see Sagrada Familia. I can see the Quarter of Gótico, the mountain. I see Plaza España. Everything that people come here to visit, I can see while eating fried eggs in the morning.
Well, so let's talk about your connections there. Tell me about the studio. I'm not clear about how, when you moved there, how you made these connections. Can you talk a little bit about that and the people that you're hanging out with?
Absolutely. I would love to tell the story. It's one of my favorites now. In November, I opened a music production school for the children in Morocco, in the Sahara Desert. I had a very challenging time last year, and it was a blessing. Like, we had so many partner companies, from Native Instruments to UJAM, Pharrell Williams Company. Everybody gave us something, Lewitt, Kali Audio, and I brought it all to the desert. And within a month and 4,000 kilometers of driving, we opened a school space where kids can record their songs for free. But I was so exhausted after. I was really at my limit, like happy and exhausted. So instead of flying back to Warsaw, I had my ticket to Warsaw in winter. And I thought, whoa, now the cold is waiting for me after being in the desert for a month.
Yeah.
No way. I might go back to Barcelona again just for 2 weeks to see what happens. And for the first time, I arrived in Barcelona. I arrived to my friend's apartment. Ugne Daniele, incredible vocalist. She hosted me on her couch, and I turned off my phone and didn't work at all. Like, for 6 days, I was just offline. The only thing in the first days I moved from the couch, get the pizza, and go back to the couch. That was everything I could do. But then after the 3rd day, I felt like slime. So I said, let's just walk without the phone again through the city and just discover the city. And this is what I did for for 3 days, 4 days. Then I made a photo, posted it online. And our dear friend Matisha from Olo Audio saw the post and said, we have also another headphone endorser in Barcelona. I want to connect you. So he connected me with the Sol de Sans crew. And then it got incredible because I was so in peace. Like I was walking through Barcelona 6 hours, no phone, no Google Maps, just walking and being amazed. And I always ended up at the bench and started to meditate right by the beach, put my feet into the water and came back. We scheduled a meeting with the studio with Alberto Perez, the owner. And when I entered the studio, something was different. The vibe was incredible. His crew is incredible. Everything full with vintage gear. Tape machine, wunderbar mixing console, all the vintage amp, everything there, but really taken care of. And the sound was incredible. Alberto said, "Oh my God, I got some secret mix. Nobody can listen to it. I have to kick you out again. Please come tomorrow for lunch. I invite you." So I spent 10 minutes in the studio and thought, no problem. I was so chill. I'm like, of course, everything happens for a reason. So see you tomorrow. I went out, walked back with the beach like an hour to my bench, and there I met my girlfriend that we are together with now since December. Since December, this was also one of the reasons which made it easier to move to Barcelona. And next day, I went again to Sol de Sans, and we became so good friends. And I stayed for the first session there, recording a rumba band in Barcelona. And I thought, rumba music is from there. You know, it was a real Sinti and Roma band, gypsy band, playing the original rumba music in this incredible studio. And I just couldn't believe it. Being 7 days offline and then sitting in this crazy studio. So we made the connection. Later, when I came back, I rented the studio from them. Everybody was happy. I invited all the assistants for lunch. We had really good vibes, though. We had the tight deadline. You know, we had like 3 songs to record. But it was such a smooth session. So we stayed in contact. We liked each other. And then in May, I brought them a couple of cookies. My girlfriend makes incredible cookies. And I just wanted to make a deal with them. Like, can I offer you a second studio into my services? Alberto told me, you know what? We had the world music producer here. He just left last week. Welcome to the team.
As it turns out, we have a job opening, and you're now the new employee, or you now work here. Welcome to the team.
It was incredible. Yeah, and then I joined them as a freelancer. So instead of working for them, I rented the studio and I could bring my own clients. And within 10 days, I had the studio fully booked. It was
amazing.
Crazy. It was beautiful. It was the perfect start. And the Sol de Sans crew made it the perfect start for me. Everything was waiting here in Barcelona for me. This is why I want to stay.
So this is where I get into the nitty gritty of it to figure out how this works. How does it work from an immigration standpoint? Do you have to have a visa, a work visa? Like, how does that work?
I have a passport from the European Union, so it's much easier. So you get the social security number you have to apply for. There it gets tricky because you need the social security number to make a bank account. But to make a bank account, you need the social security number. So you have to find the loophole. And my girlfriend had the angel at the bank. And she made me a bank account without the number as an exception. And I have a private health insurance that I set up with the bank, which allowed me later to get the social security number. And now it's getting funny. I'm lucky. And I tell you, these stories are real. I had a client coming to my studio to check out the studio. And she looked at me, she said, "It's a bit expensive, but I have a model agency and you're very beautiful. If you like, you can work for us." I said, "Yeah, but I still wait for the social security number." She's like, "Oh, we are doing this. My team is doing this. We are professionals. We have a lawyer and now I have it. And a little side income."
And you're working you're doing a side gig as a model?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
I tell you, for everybody, this is my 7th month in Barcelona. It's like everything is just aligned. I'm not hustling.
That's
but
amazing.
this is what you need. Yeah, you need the social security number. You need to make the bank account, and then I register as a self-employed autonomo. These are the steps you have to take. Of course, paperwork in every country is different, and here it's a bit slower. But what I love about here is you can still talk with people. People are happy to help in any way, and this is great.
Are you bringing in work from there locally, or are people coming to Barcelona to visit you and make records?
Both. So maybe this can be interesting how I booked out the studio, because at first I got a bit panic. Yeah, now I have another payment to do every month to pay the studio rent, to work in the studio. And I had, I think, 7 days before I started. I have clients coming from Costa Rica. They booked for November now. From different islands of Spain. On Monday, the artist is coming. And then I have local artists who are living here. And why do I have it? At first, I have my portfolio and my client base all around the world that I built over the past 8 years. And then I thought, let's make flyers. I want to have fun again. I saw it once in a documentary from Joe Strummer, where he came back in the 90s with Joe Strummer and the Mescalores. And he was handing out flyers in London. He printed them. Nobody recognized him anymore after the height of the Clash. And he said, I just start wherever I have to start, and then like, hey, come to my show, come to my show. This inspired me forever. So I did the same. I just printed 1,000 flyers. I stood every day by the music stores and just introduced myself to people with my terrible Spanish.
That was my next question. How's your Spanish?
Oh, es muy bien. Yo aprendido todo día, poco a poco, paso a paso. I'm learning every day. It takes time because there are many projects at the same time, but I'm learning. I love the language, and it was always my dream to learn Spanish, and now it's my opportunity to do so.
And it's great because you're immersed in it daily, but are you putting in extra time in like Duolingo or some kind of app where you can, brush up daily?
Absolutely. I have a platform. It's called Skillshare. And there you have different, whatever you want to learn, you can learn. So there was a very easy introductory course for Spanish, for the grammar to understand it, the deviations. And then I bought another grammar book, grammar and verbs and adjectives, so I can learn some more words. And I speak with my girlfriend Spanish. Sometimes I just walk into a store and start the conversation, and I force myself to speak as much Spanish as I can.
That's great. Yeah. And I'm sure that there's some who are anxious to practice English, so they're like, oh no, let's speak in English so I can brush up on my English.
Yeah, we're always saying the same. Like I'm saying in Spanish, mi español es un poco malo. And they say, oh, my English not so good. And then we're exchanging.
All right. So you're clearly you're making your way there in Barcelona. And it's good to know you're there because now I know that there's a person there that I can come visit.
Oh, yeah, you're more than welcome. We will have a lot of fun.
So when did the idea of the book come about, and when did you start writing that?
I wrote the book. I started 1.5 years ago. 1.5 years ago, because A, I want to promote the artists that we worked with. B, it was a huge chapter in my life that changed everything. And it's beautiful to just write it down to make it real in a way. C, with the rise of YouTube tutorials and very strong opinions, it's my intention to bring the love to engineering and production back, or bring it closer to people, to show that, yes, we have a technical job, but I think it's like 30% of our day is very technical, like the patch bay and error message handling and how to set up the microphones. But we are still having a huge margin of creativity. And these sessions, I wanted to share the microphone techniques that I found for myself, that they work, and share my thought process, how I develop them, to inspire others to develop their own. Because this is where the fun is. I don't want to use the same guitar miking technique the next 40 years, I want to figure out something. And with ever-changing rooms, there's also something I talk about in the book, like how do I evaluate the room? How is the sound? What consists a sound that I capture? It will bring me always new challenges, which makes it so much fun. And I want to get people off the screen a bit and to get more into practice, like as soon as possible with whatever you have. This was my main intention, to share another beautiful side of engineering, or maybe not another side, because I think this is the core of engineering. This is the love that we have for our craft, to remind about it again, that we have space in this technical realm to create. And
did you work on the book daily? Like, did you have to set aside time to just like, okay, I'm going to work on this chapter tonight?
No, I didn't structure it at all. It's the first book I ever wrote. So I started with a foreword. I just started to write some thoughts. And I thought, wow, this is actually pretty deep. Then I went to many audio forums and asked people what they want to know about my journeys, what would be interesting for them. And I made like polls and collected questions for a while and started to answer them in the first chapter. Yeah, many people wanted to know what were my fears, how did it all started, does it make sense to not have a commercial studio, and what I learned. I started to write it down and to process a lot of things. Then I made this journey like 13 years with with my ex-partner now, with Kasia. So we had the breakup, and I didn't want to touch the book at this time. So I had a little break from the book, and I made more presentations in universities and different places, and saw how emotional it was for me to just talk about it. So I needed a little break, and I felt like this book doesn't have an end. It didn't have a natural end to it. But then with this whole Barcelona journey, I have a happy end to it now, like a conclusion and something to move on forward. So with the development of my personal story, the book could develop further. And once I got it, it was almost like when you are writing an album and you can't stop writing because creativity just flows. Once the right moment comes, once I felt like this is right, this is the right moment to do it, I just sat down and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote with no real plan. I'm like, let's put this story, let's put that story. And later, my girlfriend Nadine, she helped me editing. I wrote it also in the foreword. Maybe you read it, like the book was nice, but it sounded like a German YouTube tutorial because you can hear I'm not a native speaker.
A German YouTube tutorial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we started editing, and she was laughing. She remembered this moment. She read my book, and she's an English teacher, and she read like thousands of books. So she's very well spoken. She knows how to make a full story out of it. And she said, I read your book in a day. I absolutely love it. I would love to make a few edits. And this was the first time in my life I had so much trust to somebody. I gave over creative control. I said, I trust you. And I thought it would take a day to edit it. I thought there were some grammar mistakes or whatever. Turned out that it was a 2-month process. And after 8 times editing, we have the final thing.
It would be a very different book had she not edited it.
Oh my God, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I can send you the first version if you like, and you can just compare, because I wrote the way I speak. So it was beautiful to let somebody else read it who is not involved in audio, because she could just focus on the content without saying, yo, are you sure you want to write like this? Microphone should be like this, or I don't wanted that. I needed somebody who can focus on the content and intention behind the book. And she's like, look, this sentence doesn't make sense. You're skipping with your thoughts. You have something in mind, but you didn't wrote it down. And this process was incredible. It was really eye-opening. It was almost like this. And then we put the mics and, oh, look, a squirrel.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, so you did this, that was a very intense time, and audience, just, you're going to have to go back to the episode, which a link will be in the show notes. You're going to have to go back and listen to that episode to hear about this journey. So if you're not understanding where I'm coming from, if you listen to that, I think you'll get it. But that was an intense time, and it is a very different way of working in audio. Mm-hmm. So now that you're in Barcelona and you're kind of settled into a studio situation, I'm just curious if over time you're going to get bored and want to go back and do it again, maybe in a different location, maybe in the same location. I don't know. But there are things and ways of working in a particular adventurous, almost Indiana Jones-like way in which you guys were working out there. And now it seems like you're stuck within a certain set of walls to work here in Barcelona. Obviously, I know you'll find a way to make it exciting and adventurous. But do you understand where I'm coming from? It's like that adventure traveling, and now you're kind of settled. So how do you look at all that? How do you evaluate all of that now?
Oh, I love this question. It's fantastic, Matt. Your questions are great. Of course, I thought about it. And there were days where I just walk into the studio like, will I be now forever in the same room? Oh my God. To spice it up, I had the African band there, for example. I work a lot with local African bands here. And then I have 12 people there and we are sharing food from the same plate. And, it's so much fun. I love the studio setup and I love the sound. This is the pro. I love the sound in the studio setup. I love using now all the good mics I have without being scared that they break in the Sahara Desert. And I love this comfort because I'm writing music also. So everything is set up. This was the con. This was the contra when traveling. Find the place. Where can I mix now? Do I have electricity? Oh, I have an idea. Okay, let's get all the stuff from the van off until I have my guitar, Let's tune this thing and then let's go into it. So this comfort, I absolutely enjoy it. To be creative and having a much better sound. I achieved the same sound also on the travels, but it takes more processing, of course, in the mixing stage. This is the one thing. The other thing is I'm still traveling and recording. So I just been in March in Morocco and went with my airplane to Marrakesh and I recorded a 13-piece women-only orchestra. It's the first time Morocco sees something like that. And they developed their own style. So I'm still having these travels. I even made Ramadan for a week when I was there. So this adventurer is still there. I love it. Another conversation I just had with a fellow van life friend is that traveling is very beautiful, very eye-opening. It's an experience. You can't buy this experience. But it's also very exhausting, especially in a van that breaks all the time. It's loud, it's slow, and this is something we noticed with my girlfriend in the book, how often I wrote I was very exhausted because sometimes I worked 20 hours, I slept 3 hours, drove another 12 to the next gig, and then after the recording session I had to mix already, like there was a little bit of sleep or rest in between. So now, let's say where I get a bit older, I really enjoy the comfort of our apartment and just wake up reading a book, then come here, record a track or write something. I don't think I get bored. I don't think I get bored in general. As you said, there is always a way to make it fun. And the same way I could complain on the road, the same way I could also complain in the studio. But I prefer not to complain and appreciate what I have or had. It makes life much easier.
I might have to come visit you and hang out with you because I think that we all develop and we all get our habits in audio. And just to hear you talk about it and to hear about the adventure, like there's such an enthusiasm in how you do things and what you do that draws me in, that makes me think I should go hang out with him and watch how he does things. Cause I bet I could learn a few things to understand a different perspective on how to capture things and a different way of, treating different things. One of the things I'm curious about is in your travels doing remote recording, I'm sure you've really developed an opinion and an understanding of equipment and what is important and what is not important. Obviously, the elements like sand are a threat to any microphone. So, could you talk a little bit about pieces of gear? I mean, that you, or just the particular gear that you think works in these environments best?
Absolutely. So the first thing is, of course, the room where you record to evaluate it properly and see where will I place the band. Most of the recordings I did live or partially live, especially in Morocco. I had to record like the rhythm section together because the rhythm is the heartbeat that drives everybody. And the best is a balanced mic locker with proper dynamic mics. Can be SM57s. I have the MTP 440s from Lewitt. I think I have 6 with me. Were pretty handy when I recorded orchestras in Armenia, together with the Kali audio crew, for example. These I use always for the close miking. Then I'm having around 3 or 4 condensers, good condenser microphones. The best is when you have at least 1 or 2 where you can change the mic pattern to figure 8 or cardioid or omnidirectional. And At the beginning, I used techniques like MS recording to get the overall image of the band. Or when I recorded the orchestra, I put the cardioid mics over the band. And when I needed clarity, like it's almost like a reverse way of recording and mixing. I start with the room mics. I try to get the accurate image from my room mics. And when I need more definition, I bring in the close mics, the dynamics. Does it make sense?
Totally.
And it's so much fun. It's such a different approach instead of tweaking everything. Important is to understand every microphone pattern from the mics that you have and how you position them, and that you understand phase. This is crucial in these live recordings. Understanding this with the right mic locker, with a few condenser mics and a bunch of robust dynamic microphones is incredible. Now I have also one ribbon with me. I love the ribbon on cellos or just as experimental microphones, sometimes on acoustic guitars or even on drums, like frame drums, traditional drums. So I have one ribbon, a lot of dynamics, and around 3-4 condenser microphones.
And generally, do you travel with like just a basic 8-channel interface?
Yeah, I have the Evo 16 from Audient, and it fits in my backpack. So when I recorded the orchestra, I had also the preamp extension SP8 from Audient. So I have 16 inputs, and still they both fit in my backpack. They're a little bit smaller than the Focusrite, for example, that I had before. So, man, it was perfect. That's all I need. There is a video where we tested it, and we transformed the office from Kali Audio together with Audient into a temporary record studio. So they filmed my process. There you will see, I think it's called location recording with Audient. And there you will see the whole process, how I evaluate the room and what sound, like you have the final mix at the end. And I like the preamps. This really saved me 2 or 3 plugins sometimes per track. But before, don't get fooled like with what I have now. Before I had the super old, pre-Sonos VSL 1818 that I bought for $50 on eBay. And then I had the Focusrite that I bought with my first income when I was still working in Poland. And at the end, everything works what you have. You don't have to run and learn. I always compare it like when I learned guitar, I had the €80 guitar and learned the chords. And of course, it was harder. But once I could buy a really good guitar, it helped me so much because I could appreciate how much easier it is now. But for the mic locker, definitely take care. One pair of pencil condensers. I have to.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned condensers. Is that, small diaphragm or large diaphragm?
Yeah, 4 large diaphragm and at least 2 small diaphragm condenser microphones for room mics. So you can work with XY, AB, or even record in 120 degrees, depending on which flavor you want. And with the small pencil condenser, I can get different flavors of the room. Because one of what I developed, I worked a lot with acoustic instruments like a djembe, like a frame drum, like a cajon. And the main sound is not in the close mics. The sound develops inside the room. So I'm recording always around 4 tracks for these instruments. 1 close mic from the front, 1 low-end mic, and then a stereo pair to capture the room for the full sound spectrum. Otherwise, you just have top end and a bit of mid-range and just low end. So something here is missing, and the room sound fills it out. So the pencil condenser is crucial.
Yeah. I'm curious, I'm not trying to give sound devices a plug here, but it would seem to me that a sound devices like device would be a real ideal choice because of its robust nature, more likely the 800 series as opposed to the Mix Pre series, but something that is well built like that. Had you considered that, or is that just too expensive? Because those things are crazy expensive.
They are crazy, and that's the thing. That's the point. They're crazy expensive. So when I'm in the van, and it doesn't depend on the country, but in general, I could forget it somewhere and drive away. Or, it never happened to me, not even close, but maybe it gets stolen, and the more expensive gear you take on the road, the more you will cry when it breaks or when it disappears or you forget about it. Or,
Right.
I had a tube mic with me. I think originally it costs $1,000, but I shot it on eBay for 250 euros. So I just had it with me, and it's incredible. But for example, tube mics and all these expensive microphones, they're perfect for studio environments. We're having also a warm audio, U87, and all kind of stuff. Or U47 warm audio built one. And it sounds incredible. But when you are working on the road with these mics, you will hear everything. It means you have neighbors, you have scooters driving outside, you have the neighbor cutting the onions, and all of this will be in your record because the mics are so good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something to consider. Like, the better the microphone is, the less you want it on the road, in a way.
Yeah. It's a very different set of criteria for your decision-making in the equipment.
Exactly. It's very important. A, from the costs. B, it could break. C, it captures too much of the sound. I used it as a room mic. Like, sometimes I used it as a room mic later because it captured so much, but often I had to mute it because I could hear somebody walking. Or
now, you, in those situations, and I think we talked about this in that episode, but just to refresh my memory, you didn't bring speakers with you, did you? It was all headphones, right?
it was mainly headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And after 3 years, Kali Audio was so kind, they sent us a pair of speakers, and I still have them. The good thing on the speakers is when I show the mixes to the band, I don't have to share my pair, like, oh, have a listen. So now I have always a small pair of headphones. There are now the LP UNF, I think they are called, from Kali.
Mm-hmm.
And they fit into my hand luggage on rolls. So I take it always so the whole band can listen back. For example, with the orchestra, I would have to show the song with one pair of headphones 13 times. So the artist can get the idea or a raw idea of how it will sound, just to listen back. But on the travels, I work mainly on headphones. I absolutely work on headphones.
So a little bit of comparison, the traveling thing versus the studio work that you're now doing in Barcelona. Let's talk about the business of it. Were you charging people to record in the travel recordings that you were doing in Morocco, or was it?
No.
I'm sorry, am I getting my countries mixed up?
No. You're absolutely correct. So our studio, like the during the traveling time, so we spent the COVID time there. We spent 2 years there during COVID and supported local artists with 120 songs during this time. There were never free recordings, but they were not paid. Means we went to the Sahara Desert and we lived there for half a year. Like a family, we had everything. We had food, we had accommodation, we had electricity. It was really beautiful. It was something beyond money in the payment, because nobody will experience this, to just live inside the desert for such a long time again. Oh, did I lost you?
No. I was just thinking about this. So I get what you're saying. So essentially you were recording everybody and supporting that community, but they were also in return providing a place for you to stay, feeding you. I love that you include electricity in that, because that's clearly an important element in this.
Absolutely. And then from the other side, we had, there was this trend of live recordings online. Do you remember? You could pay $10 and see a pre-recorded live show from your favorite artist during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had different organizations that sponsored this kind of live shows. And then we had bands. There was like one record studio where every band went to. So the band said, every video looks the same. We want something else. And this is where they got the contact with us. Then I got hired by news stations, TV stations. They wanted to know what's going on in Morocco. Can you record these and these artists for us? And we made full live shows for Ramadan somewhere in a desert palace and got normally paid for it. So we could survive another 2 months. I had sometimes requests from bands abroad to work remotely on their projects. And this is how we could survive in a way. And with survive, I'm speaking about every beginning of the month, I start by 0 on my account. 0. And I had to make somehow $400 for the whole month to pay the camping place and get basic food. So we had also a Patreon campaign where I offered people, they pay us, and I will produce 2 LPs with local artists. So they have their first LP, because otherwise they don't have a possibility. And including a mini documentary, how we did it and more infos about it. So this kept us also alive. Financially it was difficult, but again, I couldn't buy the latest plugin. So what, I had something. Yeah, whatever. Now I bought them and I'm not using them. I'm like, oh my God.
That's interesting. And so now let's look at Barcelona. Let's look at this business model.
Mm-hmm.
You have your rent for your place you live. You've
Mm-hmm.
got rent for the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned the flyer thing. I thought that was brilliant. But how do you figure out what the best price is for you in a new location like that? Because, it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy for somebody to establish themselves in a place they've lived a while. It's like, I kind of know what I can charge here in the Bay Area and know, all right, this is what this local economy will handle.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty new to Barcelona. So how do you figure that out?
I never adjust to the place where I'm living. I never. I have my prices and I always find the right clients who have the budget. And when I see, for example, when I had the African band, the Shaikara and African Folk Fusion Project, I think was the name, I made it cheaper for them because A, I just love the project, and B, I told them, you guys are busking, literally. This is the only income you have. So you can pay me in rates whenever it's good for you. Just make a minimum of $100 every month and see how you go through, This is still a mix of our project with the commercial side here. But in general, I have my rates and I have people who can pay the rates. So this is why people from the US are coming. This is why people from Costa Rica are coming. People from Germany are coming. And local people, they also have the budget. I think in every country we have thriving studios. In every country. In Poland you have high price studios and incredible records. In Morocco you have an incredible studio where the huge artists come, like Bombino, where you pay 1,600 per day, euros. Yeah, but you have everything you need. And for me it's project depending, but I have like a baseline that usually just go up.
Now, the artists that you work with, do they have experience in releasing records? I mean, I know that some people have labels, and obviously that all that stuff is taken care of. But I guess what I'm thinking of is the independent artist. Do they need any help in figuring out how to release their records? Do you help them in that process? What's involved in making sure that what you record actually gets out and sees the light of day with the world?
Yes, absolutely. And this is also why I'm pricing higher. This is just from my experience, because this is extra time we are spending to guide the artist when they have their first record or when they had a record 10 years ago and they don't know what to do right now. So we sit down. Yeah. They have a higher budget. I'm happy. They are happy. We have time. So we can also talk about these things. We have time. We don't have to rush from session to session just to make ends, how to say that? Just to make it to the end of the month,
Yeah.
Financially.
To make ends meet. Yeah.
To make ends meet. Exactly. And so I'm more than happy to help them, to share some of my time, some of my experience, of my current experience, because I worked with different artists. I worked also with artists who refused to go on Spotify and ended up in the album charts in number 10 by selling LPs, by selling CDs, because they refused going on Spotify. And I love just sharing what I know. And this will ignite something in the artist that they find their own way. Yeah. Like, okay, I want to promote it like this. Okay, I will try it like that. Okay, no, we want to go this way. So yeah, this is absolutely crucial in my job. I'm always there for the artist from the beginning to the end when we have a full production.
And I ask it because it's something that I'm paying more attention to now and participating in more. by getting involved in the release of a record or a single, because when you kind of put all the brains together to release something, there's more momentum, there's more incentive, because if I have skin in the game, I'm going to want to promote even more these recordings. And one thing, you mentioned Spotify and CDs, and in different countries, we're always told here in America that, oh yeah, they're still buying CDs in mass in Japan, which I love in many respects. And I'm starting to see a resurgence of CDs, just like we have with vinyl. What are you observing in Barcelona in terms of media and mediums of recordings? Are CDs popular? Are cassettes popular? Is vinyl popular? What's your observation there?
I've been to a lot of concerts here, and the main sales are usually T-shirts and vinyls. I think it's vinyls. Like, it's a very hip city. People are cool. They have like vinyl players at home, collecting vinyls, and people are willing to pay high prices for vinyls. With all my artists, they're happy to give like $40 for a vinyl, $50 for a vinyl.
Wow.
Which is incredible. I love going to the record stores here. Man, this is something we're going to do. Here's like an incredible record store street, and vinyls go for $40, $50. Some go for 20, but people are, in general, they have their collections here. And I recommend people, when they can, make a vinyl. It's CD. CDs sell if somebody really loves you. Even if they don't have a CD player, they just want a part of you. Yeah, something that you can sign just to have a memory. What I love is that my mother is still buying CDs, and she's listening. She said, I don't want the Spotify. I want to put the CD and just listen to the CD from beginning to the end. And when it's done, I want the silence. Like, wow, this is great. But in general, it's definitely vinyl, and not even the street musicians have CDs here. Usually you have the street musicians that sell their CDs. I think the value really went down for paying for the music for people. They rather have something physical, something nice, like a nice artwork. It's almost like having a painting in your house, having like a very beautiful vinyl. Yeah, something special. I think this is more the thing why people love vinyls. I don't have a vinyl player, but I have a Manu Chao vinyl here, for example. And I just love looking at the artwork and holding it and opening it and looking into the book. It's beautiful.
Yeah, one of the things that keeps me in the physical world, I mean, I pay for Apple Music, I pay for Amazon, and I pay for Pure Audio Streaming, which is former WCA guest Stefan Bach, his new Atmos streaming service. So I pay for all these three services, but I buy old jazz vinyl still, and I have a small collection of CDs and box sets. What I do like about that is that control, that ability to say, I bought this, I own it, I can transfer it to the computer, I can listen to it in my old ass car. And the other thing that I've noticed is, over time, with digital, in the way that we have the ability to change things, there's been mixes I've noticed change. Like, I'll be listening to something, I'm like, that's not the same mix that when it originally came out. Yeah. And I'll go back to the CD and go, yeah, that's the mix. And then, I sometimes I hear crazy things that I find disappointing that change. So if that's one thing that I do love about the physical, it's that it cements that mix in time for me and allows me to, stay with that, whether that's your cup of tea or not. But,
no, I love what you're saying. Every word about it. I love it.
And to me, it's very, with all due respect to George Lucas, it's very much like, hey, okay, Star Wars, how most people remember Star Wars, it's changed from when it originally came out, because as technology allowed, George Lucas started to add shit and take things in a new direction for a film that I grew up on. So it's a little, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't dislike it. But I don't like it either.
No, man, don't touch this stuff. It has been done. The emotion have been captured. the way it is captured. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't make it bright. Just just don't make it bright like all this other stuff. Everything is just getting brighter now. Like, whoa, it's so good.
Yeah.
No,
Let's
it's
remaster it and make it brighter and louder.
Yeah.
Oh.
What I liked, though, I've been last year in Real World Studios, and I could listen into the Genesis album from 40 years ago, and they remixed it, and I liked it. I liked
Really?
it, like the way he did it and everything. Okay, it sounded more modern, but still, like what I heard at this time, I liked what he did. In a way, modern, but with taste. He really put still the taste, but something was there where I had a good feeling this time. I didn't hear the final mix though. I don't know if
I assume you're talking about Peter Gabriel and Peter Gabriel's era of Genesis, right?
Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. You've spent some time at Real World, and we were talking about former WCA guest and friend of ours, Hans Martin Buff.
Yeah.
What have you experienced at Real World? What's the vibe there? Is it a collaborative place? Is it a great place to learn?
I've been on tour with artist Audelia that I work with. So we had just a little UK tour, and thanks to Hans Martin Buff, we went to Real World, but just for a visit. So I wasn't working there, but I loved the vibe. I loved the energy. The team is incredible. They were very inviting, very knowledgeable. We could ask any question and very open, to show us these mixes, to show us around, to show us the room. I loved it. I loved the sound. It was, when I'm in these studios, you can feel creativity in every corner. It was a really special moment. And of course, the equipment it's stunning when you see this SSL console. How many channels does it have?
More than I'll ever use.
No, it's crazy. It's a beautiful place. And when you're just driving to the town of Box, even the color of the stones is changing. Everything is changing. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So in the new spot here in Barcelona, obviously I could see behind you. I could see stuff around you. So I know that you still maintain a bit of a recording environment there to augment the work you do. Mm-hmm. But you do the bigger tracking there at the studio that you've established yourself at. Do you have your own separate room there, or do you just work off the main room?
So at the beginning, we have the headquarters, Sol de Sans in what's the quarter? Okay, they have the headquarters with 4 studios, and Studio A is the biggest one. It's the main one. And when I have a bigger band coming over, and we need like a full live band to record, I'm recording there. Then I had the other studio inside Sala Apollo. That's how it's called. And this is like a concert venue. So every day I walked into the concert venue, I listened to the sound checks, but had my studio there separately. But unfortunately, last month, they didn't extend the contract anymore after many years. So that's why I set up now like a home studio for mixing and for production, for writing, because my home is beautiful. It's a sanctuary. You can sit down here, be loud, and write music. And when it's then about tracking, we can go to the big studio in Studio A. Or when I have to hire musicians, like I'm recording here acoustic stuff, I'm recording bass, I'm writing the songs. I have a MIDI keyboard here from Native and all these plugins, everything I need. Everything for beat making. I have a djembe here, guitars, everything. If I need a heavy caliber, if I have a band coming from the States, they want to record everything live with vintage drums or piano. We have like a huge grand piano. Then I go to Studio A and book it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a beautiful flexibility because, man, I wake up and when I want to write a song, I'm taking my coffee, sitting down here, and the first 2 hours of the day, I just let creativity flow. And everything is set up here to work.
Well, this is interesting because I know that, I've considered, sometime in the future, potentially leaving the Bay Area and trying a different location to live. And I'm sure others listening or watching have also made these considerations of, relocating. I know that there's a lot of fear, like of leaving something you've established, in our case, in the world of audio, like we we know certain musicians, we know like, oh, I need a drummer. I know who I'm going to call, or, any kind of musician you need or any resource of gear or whatever, and studios.
Yeah.
So to see you make this jump, go to Barcelona and just land in the way that you've landed has been really inspiring to listen to and to hear this journey. And it gives me like a little bit of a perspective on, okay, there's possibilities out there. You don't necessarily have to stay in your current location. You can move around and try different things. So I applaud you for your courage to just jump in and let it all happen.
Man, thank you so much. I think sometimes it's just like a skill, like everything we practice and repeat. What I'm doing, just jump somewhere and say, yes, I can do it. I just do it since I'm, 11, 12. I always said, no, I just try it. Let's see what happens. So it became, instead of practicing fear, it's of course thought through. I check like how much do I have on the account. I have a possibility to work in the studio. Oh, I met somebody and I got a couple of groups where to find apartments. I was a bit prepared, but I just love it. When it feels exciting, I follow my intuition, and the intuition will tell you what's right. And the cool thing is, man, nowadays, for example, I work with a US team, but I'm all over the world because we can just stay. Our contacts will no longer disappear when we disappear from an area. Of course, and they know you already. Yeah, they had a coffee with you. You went out for lunch, for dinner. So they will no longer forget you. It's harder when I'm now remotely and try to find clients remotely in the US. This is difficult because I can't just come for a coffee. It's just so much better to be on the spot with people. But you have already your client base. So they will not forget you just because you're no longer there. This is the thing. And I had it. For example, I worked now with Lee Ronaldo, who is the co-founder of Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
And this was with a job I had 2 years ago for a movie. I did the mastering for 3 songs. And then the director came back. Yo, I loved your masters. And we have here something. Maybe you want to try. It didn't matter if I was in Barcelona or Morocco, There was no barrier for this. Now he can just follow up. He liked my work. He followed up. And this is the cool thing about it. We can be now wherever we want.
Yeah. And I want to, before we conclude here, I want to say that, I've talked about your enthusiasm earlier in this conversation, and I'm sure I talked about it in our last conversation. Do you have any thoughts about how you present yourself in terms of, are there certain things that you can do to make yourself a more inviting person, a more attractive person to want to work with? For Lee Ronaldo to, ring you up and say, hey, I've got another thing. Let's do this. Do you think your attitude and your enthusiasm are a major part of that?
You know what? I think for every artist is the right producer. So there is no one formula. I always say stay authentic and you attract the right people. Like, just as an example, when you're grumpy, you don't want to work with me because I will make your day hell. I'm like, yo, look at this. It's raining. I love rain. It's so good for the trees. I make your day hell. You don't want me in the studio when you're grumpy. But other people are in the same way and they need it and they socialize and communicate through this. So there is no right or wrong. I love that we are all different. This makes us beautiful. And through our authenticity, we attract the authentic clients that we love to work with and they love to work with us. So with Lee, I just wrote with him, because of the masters and it came back and forth. Apparently he was 4 times in Morocco and he wrote a little book and he was working with Paul Bowles. Paul Bowles lived almost 40 years in Morocco and he started to telling me all these stories. We connected authentically. There was nothing weird, nothing odd, nothing where I had to change anything or he had to change anything, It's clear communication and it's very respectful and it's fun and it's eye-opening for both of us. I learned something new, he learned something new, and this is beautiful. And to make this, how I got the studio full is I gave the flyers. I also run a little ad. I put 300 euros into it, but I didn't said like, book me for mixing. I said, come over to visit my studio and see if it vibes. Because now I'm at the point where I think I had like some projects that never ended, that I shouldn't have taken at first place. And I don't want it anymore. I was thinking, oh, there's somebody who wants my service. How cool, how exciting. And I get some money. But this was the wrong attitude. Wrong or right, I don't know, because I learned something else through it. But a project that should be, for example, 1 month, it took 18 months.
Oh,
because we didn't got along together. And then the person disappeared, came back, changed everything, you know? And since then, I'm checking also from my side if I want to work with this person. And this changed everything. It sounds almost counterintuitive because but for this, I raised my prices.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not having this panic that I have to work with everybody. It's a form of self-respect. And it's a form of self-respect, not only financially wise, but also living wise. Yeah, I want to enjoy this job that we do. This is a gift what we are doing. I'm really grateful for it. And I want to treat it like a gift. I don't want to treat it not like a business. It is a business. We are both making a living with it. And I love also the business side. Not a business like buying a bunch of Chinese toys. And if you buy 1 million, you get 50% off, just to sell something. And I don't care. I want to, enjoy it. And it's possible.
It very much is. And we are very lucky that we can do this because it's a great way to make a living and it brings incredible joy. There's also some hard parts about it too, but hey.
Absolutely.
Everything is hard, right? So
in every job, and I think these hard parts, they are there to, we can choose how we take them. I think they are there to show us something that we can learn. It's always an opportunity to learn. Like, how do we handle it? How do we handle, for example, a hard part can be when I lose the files from my clients, a full session after a full day. This can be a hard part, or a hard part can be also miscommunication. But then I had this and I thought, at the beginning, this is repeating. What can I do? And I read a book, How to Communicate Better, like the Nonviolent Communication from Marshall Rosenberg, how to talk. And then there I am, 32 years old. And through my new job, I learned to speak new.
Well, and it's interesting, no matter how hard it gets, we keep coming back. Whereas, let's say we both spent a day digging ditches. I think we would be like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going back to that. That doesn't pull me in. But even in the worst of days in audio, I just say, well, all right, tomorrow's a new day. I'm coming back.
You put it absolutely, yes. Today I checked and I'm like, whoa, I started 2017. It's 2025. I'm doing it 8 years. I never had a job for 8 years, I thought a year max. And then I changed. I said, I'm out of here. Sorry, guys, I'm out of here. 8 years, and I love it. And there's always something new.
Well, it's been great to see you. Great to chat with you again. I'm excited about your book, and we will do whatever we need to do to let everybody know where to get that book, because there's quite a story in there about these travels in Morocco and everything that you and your partner did at the time. So I will, any link you send me, we'll put in the show notes. So audience, be sure to check the show notes because there's some good details there to be had.
I loved it. So the book comes out on the 1st of September, Audio Nomad, recording 2 years in Morocco. There are 30 sets of multi-tracks, so you can download the multi-tracks for every session, mix it on your own, get the idea how it sounds. I'm describing most of the microphone techniques in the book, so you can follow along. There are audio examples, how to feel rhythm, even if you can't read rhythm. There are personal stories, there are things about monetizing. Everything is in there. How to get started, why you should get started, how to discern the noise from the sound.
Oh, I love it. That's great. I didn't realize the thing about the multi-tracks. A lot of people are going to enjoy that, I think.
Yeah, it's all included, guys. So because I think for audio, just reading a book is not so helpful. We need to listen. We need hands-on experience as soon as possible. So this book will allow you with the multi-tracks to jump right into it, because it's always from my perspective. When I started, I wanted to hear how these sessions sounded like. Somebody tells me something about the technique, but I don't even know, does this sound right now what I'm doing? Does it sound good what I'm doing? So now you have something to compare.
That's great, man. Well, best of luck to you on the book. I will do my best to promote it on my end of things, and
Appreciate it.
And I'm serious. I got to come visit you in Barcelona. I got to look at what that would cost to come out. And
please come over. Please be my guest.
I will be happy to be your guest. Yes.
This will be fun.
All right, Ady, thank you for coming back on the show. It's great to see you. Thanks for making time for me, and you take care.
And you too. Thanks for having me. I feel so inspired. I wish you all the best. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Keep the community together, man.
All right, take care.